What's up, YouTube? So today is a new day. Sun is shining. It's been raining for the past couple of days, so sun is out. And today I'm going to be stripping the rust off this frame. This is probably going to be my least favorite part of this whole project, but it's something I want to do. That way, when everything's put back together, it's going to be nice and clean and painted. So it should look really nice. So I'm about to get into all that. So through the power of editing, the next time you see this frame, it will be nice and clean. Alright guys, I'm about to get rusty, dirty, and nasty. While I get into it, Alright guys, I'm back after several days of stripping the rust off this frame, which was a tedious process. I finally got all that done, finally got the frame painted. The only thing I have not painted, you probably can't tell from this angle, is the trailing arm cross member, because today we're going to be installing those exhaust cutouts. They do come with a template in the kit and along with the bolts and hardware you need. I already got the 4 1/8 inch hole saw that I need to make the holes, and so we're going to be setting up the camera here in a few minutes over there, and we're going to start making those holes. If you're wondering what that is hanging below the frame, that's the lower shock mounts, and I also painted the upper shock mounts. I do need to get some more paint today. I pretty much ran out, so once we get the holes for the exhaust cutouts done and installed, then I can go ahead and paint the cross member and be done with that. Plus I have other things to paint as well. C-notch brackets are installed and they are welded in. And yes, I am going to be using all the bolts. All those holes I made, I will be bolting it all in as if it was a bolt-in process. Back here, I decided to mask that whole section off, because I thought it was kind of neat. After all these years, those numbers are still there, almost like they haven't even really faded away that much. So later on at some point, I'm gonna clear coat that section with a matte clear to kind of seal those numbers off. I thought that was kind of neat that they're still there. So I'm gonna try to save a little bit of originality on the frame and save those numbers. So, all right, guys, you're pretty much caught up with everything that's been done so far. So I'm gonna set up the camera over there, and we're gonna start making those big holes for you guys. Alright guys, got the camera moved over here. Hopefully that buzzing noise is not annoying, because I got the fan on. It's a little warm this morning. So here's the template he provides in the kit. You've got a decal. That's where your little template hole would go. Flip it over, you can see it. And it's just going to fit right in there. So that should work out. If you look at this template, you'll notice this hole is bigger than the other three. That hole lines up with that hole right there where my finger's at. Those holes are almost identical in size, because there's also a hole right here that's smaller that matches as well. But if you went to that, look how much space is up here versus down here. You potentially, really thin it out right there. So this is the hole you guide it off of, the bigger one. It centers it better. It's going to get the exhaust hole away from the trailer arm, because you got to think the trailer arm's kind of going that way at an angle. You got it close to here, it'll be really close right there. So I guess if you really and truly wanted to, you could kind of, really, if you wanted to, you could just kind of make your own spot somewhere in here. But I'm going to go off the template hole, and so I'm going to go ahead and mark a couple of holes here to bolt that in, and go from there. Alright guys, I had a bit of trouble making those holes for that template, but they're made, it's in there, the template's bolted down, so now I'm ready to use this. I'm hoping this can handle making 2 holes, because I got to go through the template and then I got to go through the cross member. Alright guys, here we go. See what happens. I'm sure that's pretty noisy. I'm gonna time lapse through this. Well, there it is mostly. I ended up having to break this piece because this one cut out first before this piece did, and I had a hard time keeping the hole saw on this, cutting it smooth. It kept jumping around. I finally just took a pair of adjustable pliers, adjustable wrench, this thing, and just pulled it off, broke it off. So now I got to clean that edge up. I ain't gonna lie guys, I highly suggest you pay somebody that has a plasma cutter to do this. This was no fun, and I'm not even done. I still got the other side to do. And it's going to be interesting to see now how that's going to work because of the template. I guess the hole saw will stay centered in the hole. We'll find out. There it is though. I'm going to remove this part, this bracket thing, and clean up these edges. Go from there. It's a new day. I had to buy a 1/2-inch drill. Luckily, I got this thing at Amazon for $35. I already got a bunch of Ryobi chargers and batteries, so P215 is a 1/2-inch drive, and I've already made 1 hole and then went through it like nothing. You have to use a 5/8 bit, and it has a 1/2-inch shank. So, but yeah, let's do real time on this hole right here. Let me speed it up. Ooh. Speed it up again. Look at that. Yep, that's the holes you got. That's the size hole you got to make for that bracket. And that's the bolt, which is a 5/8 bolt. There you go. Alright, what I'm going to go ahead and do is switch to time lapse, finish this hole, and I got the other side to do. Somehow on the other side I got a hole off center, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do there. But like I said yesterday, I'm a little bit, my nerves are a little bit calmer now, but this was quite an uneventful task. I mean, I expected it to be bad, but not this bad. I probably would have had better success maybe with a 1/2-inch drive drill, because the 3/8 drills were just couldn't handle it. One of them started smoking on me, so I had to stop using it. Sometimes you don't realize what you encounter until you start doing this stuff and realize, man, I don't have enough tools to do the job. So once again, like I said, I recommend, if you can borrow a plasma cutter or just spend the money, take it to the exhaust shop, it'll save you a lot of time and frustration, and maybe even money, because I've had to buy a drill and hole saws and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm gonna get back at it, guys. Just wanted to give y'all a quick little update on this whole scenario here. All right, I'm gonna get to it. Alright guys, there it is. There's one installed. And I guess I got one hole right there in that bottom right corner wasn't lined up. I had to kind of get the drill bit to work a little bit of that edge, but other than that, it fit perfect. So I gotta do this side, and this thing will be done. Go ahead and clean it up, get ready for paint. So you see the process. It's not a fun one. This face quite frustrated yesterday, so set the camera up on the other side, time lapse through that, and these exhaust cutouts will be done. All right guys, I'm gonna get to it. Both holes are made, everything fits, so now I got to take everything apart and clean up the mess so I can get this thing ready for paint. It's the only thing I got left on the truck that I'm going to be painting. Well, I am going to do the rear end as well. So I'm going to get all this stuff cleaned up and get this thing painted and go from there. Alright guys, we'll pretty much call it on this video here. We got pretty much everything painted, the frame, all the dead end garage brackets, passenger side trailing arm bracket there, exhaust cutouts. There's the trailing arm shim or spacer for the driver's side trailing arm, upper and lower shock mounts, and you got the bar hanging over here. It's painted, ready to go. The only thing I haven't done is I haven't clear coated this area like I said I was going to do earlier, but that's the only thing I need to do. Yeah, the frame turned out pretty nice. I've been using this paint for years and it's worked out great. VHT epoxy paint. This is satin black. They do make gloss black as well. And I believe they make white. I've never used the white, but it's I really like the way that paint lays down and turns out. So if you're interested in what I use, that's what I use for anything chassis related or anything I wanted painted black for that matter. A lot of pitting in this cross member here, even on the upper part of this frame as well, but all in all it turned out pretty nice. We've got the trailing arm cross member here. Even did the front side as well. It's not very easy painting on your back and stuff, but it works out. I do want to show y'all one little tech tip to end this video here. So if you're going to be painting your frame, even if you're doing a full frame off restoration, and you know exactly where you're going to be grounding, let's say your engine or anything of that nature, you can take a bolt and a round washer, particularly of the size you're going to be using. Like for this spot here, this is where I grounded my compressor, but if you're going to be grounding something that's 18 gauge wire, you don't need this size, excuse me, you don't need this size circle. Yeah, just take you a flat washer, nut and a bolt, put it on there, do your painting, and when it's all dry and done, then you can remove the bolt and you have you a nice symmetrical spot so you can do your grinding. That way you don't have to take a flat disc or something like that to dig into your paint. Same thing as powder coat, you could probably do that as well. The only difference is you might have to trim around the powder before you remove the bolt and the washers and stuff. So just a little trick if you're painting and trying to have a nice little spot to ground. So yep, frame's pretty much done. We're ready to go ahead and start putting everything back together. However, I am not going to be putting that nasty looking thing under this. So on the next video we'll be addressing the rear end right here, and until then guys, if you're this is your first time watching, you're new to the channel, go ahead and check out my previous videos, like the ones you like, and if you want to stay in tune with everything I'm doing on my 66 C10, go ahead and subscribe. That way you stay up to date with everything I'm doing. Alright guys, until then, thanks for watching.